basically what I was doing at night was like looking for jobs I could do as a business. And I camped on the UN website where they list all their tenders, and I was looking for like, okay, which tender could I do, and I would apply, to those to those opportunities, and I would apply as if I was like I was using the standards of like a Fortune 500 firm. Like my thinking was, when my application lands on that table, it needs to look as if it came from like a Fortune 500 business. Because I was like, it's just paper. I'm sure I can make it work. So got like really good logos, really good fonts. Everything is super well structured. Buy the nicest envelopes and everything. So I always was like, it's going to stand out from the packaging to when you open it, you're reading it, you're gonna see like there's color, there's just, I've gone over and above what you'd have expected a tender person to do. And that's going to communicate something about us as a company, and our ambition is like, we're gonna give you like a level of service that is better than you expect. And I think that's actually how we ended up winning like our first project with UNICEF, is that. So because we had no experience, no background, nothing, but I think they were willing to give us a chance. And obviously it also didn't hurt that I could say they have an MIT degree, and also so that kind of helps to build some confidence in it. Yeah, and so by the end of the 6 month, I had like my first project, with UNICEF, because I was like, okay, what, these guys are safe. They are not. No one is gonna ask me for corruption money, like, because I was trying to do everything clean, right? Yeah, and so I got my first project, and it was a data project, and I was able to hire like 10 university students as part-time workers, and we did a data digitization job for them. And we just went over and above, like, what they expected. We cleaned up the data 2 times just to make sure it was very nice. And so when we delivered the work to them, they just came back and said, we love your job, how you did this. We've got like a much bigger job coming up, and you're gonna need like more than double these people you have here. And so one day they called me there and took me there, and it was just like a whole room full of papers, and they were like, can you digitize this for us? And that's how I found, basically, like, about by the end of the first year, I had like 40 students, or 40 people working in a room in Nairobi, and fulfilling this work for UNICEF. And I made money. Like, I think I made like $30,000 from that project. And so I was very, up in the clouds, and I was like, okay, I thought this is gonna take 10 years, but in 3 months, it just took a year, right? So I was lucky to, to actually have some early success, just doing that. Yeah, but that's basically how, I got started.
So I have 2 questions for you. One is, given that you had said originally that the Africa was replete with problems,
Right.
the how come you didn't come in with a problem you were looking to solve?
I think the basically, I was looking to figure out a way to get started, right? How can I make money? Like, I need to first get some money, right?
Right.
Because you need to solve the money problem. So, and I was like, I can be a good, I can provide great services here in Africa, and I think that's good, because I ended up actually also providing job opportunities for a lot of those university students, right? So I saw it as part of kind of like, me getting into the workforce, and yeah.
The second question is corruption money. Nobody is asking for corruption money. Something you
Yeah.
said. Can you tell us, peel the layer on that one?
Yeah. So I think, So, back to kind of like, this, I think, this picture I give you of being on your deathbed. One thing I wanted to do was to say, okay, I feel most proud of myself for not even done any corruption, right? And I don't want to take any shortcuts. So, I think when I came back, my options were basically like, are you going to try to get any projects with the government? Probably not. And you're like a very young guy, you need to know people, you don't know anybody, right? Are you going to try to do this with like Kenyan corporates? Maybe you could do that, but I just felt like they were not as kind of, they would not be as international as like the UN, right? Because the UN was very transparent. We list all our projects, you apply, and maybe whoever gets it, And I also knew probably like the people in the UN would kind of give some respect to an MIT degree more. So it's just how I thought about like figuring out how to, where am I gonna knock first, which doors are likely to be opened for me or which make sense for me. So yeah, that's why I opted for that route.
So you have $30,000 in your pocket, enough to get started. What was your next move with your entrepreneurial vision?
Yeah, so I think I was a bit heady at that point, and I was like, I need to teach people how to do this, what I just did, right? So my next project was something which I call the Africa Business and Leadership Excellence Center. It's like the ABLE Center, like I wanted to call it ABLE Center or something like that. Those were the meaning of the acronym. And so I went to town and like hired a room. And I had an office downstairs, and upstairs was a classroom. And I put together like some of my entrepreneurship lectures, which I had created a while back, and I updated some of them, and then I bought some chairs, like all the furniture, everything, and then I started doing ads on